Hello, I'm Carla Brodley. I'm the Dean of the Khoury College of Computer Sciences at Northeastern University. And I'm here to tell you about a master's program that we have developed, piloted, and scaled called the Align Masters in Computer Science. And it's a master's that we created for people who didn't study computer science as undergraduates. And the goal behind developing this new pathway into computer science is to broaden both the demographics and the diversity of thought in computer science. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it's taken a village to create this program. I'm showing here my co-authors, which includes Andrea Danieluk, who served as the Global Director of the Align program while on leave from Williams College. I'm showing several directors of computer science in our campuses. I'm showing advisors, I'm showing professors, and I'm showing our advancement staff as well, because part of the development of this was to create the funds such that students could try computer science without adding to the college debt problem that we have in this country. So tech is one of the highest growing fields in terms of employment, and we'd like everybody to feel welcome in computer science and in tech. Indeed, it's one of the highest paying jobs, and it's also a place where there's real need for more people. The problem is that some people are deciding not to go into tech. Indeed, right now we're leaving it in the hands of 17-year-olds who goes into computer science. So if we think about what the national statistics are in the United States, more than 50% of people who graduate with an undergraduate degree are women, and 19.5% of graduates in computer science are women. Underrepresented minorities in computer science, 25% of college graduates are underrepresented minorities versus 12.5% in computer science. So there's a huge gap, and what we need to do is provide new pathways into tech, in addition, obviously, to all of the good work that's being done to broaden participation at the undergraduate and high school level. Our solution is a completely new pathway. It's called the Align Masters in Computer Science, and it's for people who didn't study computer science as undergraduates. The way that the program works is students come in and they do 2 semesters of what we call the bridge. This is undergraduate material, but not taught in the way undergraduates are taught, because we're basically trying to get 8 courses of material into our students after only 2 semesters. At that point, they join the direct entry master's students for 2 semesters of master's level classes. Then they go out on a work experience. Northeastern has relationships with over 500 companies. We run a co-op program, which is where students do paid internships out in industry, either for a summer or for 6 to 8 months. And all of our students are afforded this opportunity to have this work experience. Then they come back and they do 1 more semester of master's classes, and then they graduate with a master's in computer science. In the bridge, we have several courses. Make no mistake when you see that there are only 5 courses. This truly is 8 courses worth of material, but in our graduate program, the common load is 2 classes. But for example, our first class, which is an introduction to computer science and data structures and programming, is really the equivalent of 2 undergraduate classes. So what we're doing here is we're preparing students with all of the background that they need in order to have the right knowledge as they go into the Masters in Computer Science classes. So in addition to the course material and the internships, there's a lot of other parts of this program that make it a success. And in particular, everything is designed around making sure that students feel supported and comfortable as they make this transition. So we do a pre-assessment to decide where they are and how much support they're going to need. And we also run a math boot camp for 2 weeks in the summer before the students start. During the program, we have a lot of support in terms of academic advising. We have co-curricular programming in the sense of having invited speakers, and we really try to bring speakers in who themselves have an unusual path. We have a very low TA to student ratio. It's half of that of what our normal classes are, and that is because we find that the students need a little additional support during the bridge. And finally, we have the ability for students to participate in a mentoring program where they're paired with students who are older in the program. We call our students in the program aligners. So they'll be paired with an older aligner. And that peer-to-peer mentoring is probably one of the most successful parts in terms of retention, and also the fact that it's a cohort model and they're all together. In order to recruit a diverse student body, and by diverse we mean diversity of demographics and thought, and so I want you to think about what it would take to convince a friend of yours who's an English major that he or she might like to do computer science. Well, it's not just a you should try it, although I have tried that. It takes a lot more of an involvement in them understanding what does this mean. So we have several different types of ways for prospective students to engage with us. One is a preview night where they meet students and talk to faculty about what does it mean to be in the Align program. A second is we have information sessions both in person and online to explain the program. And finally, perhaps our most successful recruiting tool is something we call Break into Tech, where students come and they're taught by a professor some concept in computer science. So an example of this is Dijkstra's algorithm, which is the algorithm behind GPS and Waze. And when students are empowered and they co-invent the algorithms with the professor, they see that computer science isn't just code, but it's actually computational thinking and algorithmic thinking. Another component that's very important both for recruiting and also because we don't want to add to the college debt problem in this country is the philanthropy that we've raised from foundations, from the National Science Foundation, and also from corporations, so that students can try before they buy. Students come from diverse backgrounds. In fact, currently we have students that come from over 100 different majors, roughly split into about a third liberal arts, a third business, and a third other STEM fields. And by the way, I should mention that the reason that the program is called Align is because you didn't make a mistake in what you did as an undergraduate. We want to align your interest to tech. And moreover, we also want to align the tech field to the demographics that match our country. So let me give you 3 interesting examples. The first is Andrew Dickens. And Andrew's story starts with his service in the Air Force. After finishing up his service, he began working at Amazon in Seattle in a non-technical role. We have a campus in Seattle right across the street from Amazon. So he would walk by our campus and he saw this program. And so one day he decided to throw his application in the ring. And by his own admission, he couldn't write a line of code when he started the program. So if you're watching this and you're a prospective student who hasn't written a line of code, that was Andrew's story. He now works in a technical position at Amazon, and he also teaches in the beginning semester of the program because he understands so clearly that transition that students are making. Joanna is actually what we call a double husky. She got her undergraduate degree in Northeastern in political science in 2017. And that same year, she rejoined Northeastern and in the Align program with an idea. She wanted to work at the intersection of cybersecurity and policy. Well, she already had the policy, so now she needed to do the cybersecurity. After completing the bridge, she went into our master's in cybersecurity, and she kept on going, and this semester she started in a PhD program where she's focusing on cybersecurity research. April taught AP Chemistry in Haverhill, Massachusetts for 6 years, and as she watched her students go on to degrees and careers in STEM and tech, she decided she wanted to make the transition herself, and she joined Align in the fall of 2018. She recently got a co-op offer at Pandora Spotify, and she's poised to graduate at the end of 2020. So Align has grown substantially. We started very small with 11 brave souls at our Seattle campus. We grew slightly in the next 2 years, but we wanted to wait and make sure that the program was debugged and that our students would end up with the job opportunities that we wanted them to have with careers in tech. So we waited to scale. And we've been scaling, and we're on our way to 1,000 students per year. Currently, we've graduated 195 students, and we have, I think, 1,016 enrolled in the program. Our most recent intake was 52% women, and that brings us to an overall percentage of women of 48% in the program. We also wanted to tap into a domestic market. We wanted to increase the availability of people who are studying computer science, of people who graduated from colleges and universities around the country. In terms of the makeup of the domestic enrollment, our goal is to be at 25% underrepresented minorities, as that is the percentage of students who graduate from college in this country. We're roughly at 21% right now, so it's still a number that we're working on. So I've just told you about the demographics and how many people are joining the program. I now want to talk about the outcomes and also the retention. So the majority of people who come through the program, we retain them. People tend to leave between first and second semester because either they didn't make the room in their real life for this program with their other commitments, or because they try computer science and they found out that they actually don't enjoy it. And it has nothing to do with whether or not the program is hard. It has to do with whether they love it. All of us who are computer scientists remember when we took our first course, we fell in love, and nothing was as fun as our computer science programming assignments. Now, you'll see that there are 2 spring semesters where there was a bit of a dip. There are 2 reasons for this. The first is that we had gone out into the market saying that you could do this program full-time while you work full-time. It's very challenging, and so we had some people who really couldn't leave their full-time job for family commitments, and therefore they had to drop out of the program. We also played with the admissions a bit to see how did we really want to do admissions. So one thing I should note is we don't require GREs, so it's based completely on what the prospective student has accomplished, and of course their essay and their personal recommendations. Retention from second semester to master's, we see some attrition here. We don't know how much of this is because they feel that they know enough computer science that they can actually go out into the workforce. We'll be working on tracking that, but we see some more attrition here, and this is also, again, sometimes due to life commitments. But after they're in the master's program proper, we have a very high retention rate, sometimes as high as 100% to graduation, which we're very proud of. In this graph, we're showing people who have graduated from the program and people who have been retained and are yet to graduate. Sometimes people go on to finish the program part-time after their co-op or internship because they get a full-time offer, which is why you see this little bit of trail of people who are still in the program and haven't graduated. You may be wondering how well they do when they join the direct entry master's students. So we did a comparison of the GPAs in the master's classes of people who came through the Align program in comparison to our direct entry master's students. Now you should note that it's very hard to get into the direct entry program. We have an accept rate of only 16% for our direct entry master's students. So this is a pretty tough cohort to join. But you'll notice that the Align students do slightly better in terms of their GPA. 100% of Align graduates have a job in tech in 6 months after graduation. These are the companies that they have gone to work at. What we've done is pilot and scale a new pathway into computer science. We've done this at all of our campuses. So I'm showing here the campuses in Northeastern that currently offer the Align program. I'm also showing 3 new campuses in Vancouver, Toronto, and Portland, Maine that will be offering the Align program in this next coming academic year. And then I'm showing with a C schools that have joined us in this mission in offering a new pathway to computer science. What is our goal? Our goal is to make the Master's in Computer Science like an MBA or a law degree, something that you can do after any undergraduate degree. So this consortium is focused on sharing all of our best practices and all of our materials. And if you're a school that's watching this and you're interested, please contact us. I would like to just take a moment to thank the National Science Foundation. I'd like to thank Pivotal Ventures, the executive office of Melinda Gates, and to our corporate partners who have helped us both with offering jobs and also offering scholarship support. I'd like to conclude with my own personal story of how I got into computer science. I started out university as an English major because I loved to read. And in my sophomore year, one of my roommates came home and she said, "You would like computer science." It was 1982 and I had no idea what that meant, but I decided to pay attention and I took the Fortran programming course. Most of you don't know what Fortran is. And I fell in love. And I went on to change my major to computer science. And I got a PhD. And I became a professor. And then I became a department chair, and now I'm a dean of the Khoury College of Computer Sciences. And throughout that journey, I've reflected upon what would my life have been like if I hadn't discovered this field that I have so much passion for. And that's why we created the Align program, so that everyone can have a path to computer science.